Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I heard something from you, but
Oh, can you hear me now?
yep.
Okay.
While we wait for Marley, you want to give me an update or any feedback from since we last met?
Yeah, and Marley said that she's having issues with her power. Like I think her power went out, so
Okay.
yeah, I don't think she's gonna be able to make this one.
Okay, well, we'll send her the recording.
Okay. But yeah, for the update, I still haven't really gotten videos from anyone really. So
Yeah, so Rachel sent me a message that says that she's going to be dropping the internship, so don't expect anything from her.
okay. She was actually the one that did send two, like the past last week, but okay. And then yeah, I just haven't been getting anything from anyone, so I sent another message in the group chat, just kind of reminding everyone to send me their videos for feedback, but I don't know if they're working on them or if they're just busy.
Okay. Let me look at Basecamp because I can see if people have been reporting hours or not. This is kind of an issue that I've had with social media since forever, that it's unlike SEO in that you can say one strategy is more effective than anything else. You know, it's really a combination of skills, which makes it very hard to train people on. Usually by the time that someone finishes their internship, they're not even, not even a quarter of the way through what I would consider necessary skills to really be effective. You know, if I had to teach one thing in all of social media, it'd be how to do Facebook ads. But that has a separate issue in that it's connected to a credit card. And then on top of that, the quality of the content really matters. So I do think we'll do some Facebook ads pretty soon. I just need a second to kind of create some content, I think. I'm going to be meeting with a videographer later today who we kind of referred a bunch of clients to each other recently. And the idea was that I was going to do a trade with him at one point. I do SEO for him and he does videos for me. And when he gets those videos back to me, which I'm hoping is what we're going to be discussing today, we'd have some perfect content for running Facebook ads. So beyond that, I think going forward, really the main thing as a supervisor is to kind of, I start training you more than I start training the team. Because another problem with the team is that some people learn faster than others. So what ends up happening is, if one person isn't keeping up with the team, it kind of slows everybody else down a little bit, at least on the training side of things. Or the opposite happens. I'm just training one or two people too quickly and the other ones fall behind. So today I thought, I wanted to just get some feedback from you guys and kind of get a feel for what you think has been working, and what we should do next, and then what you guys want to learn more of, because that's the main thing. As a supervisor, you guys have more responsibilities, and I will basically train you on anything you want to learn.
Okay, yeah. In terms of the team, yeah, I think they're doing well. Like I said, I haven't gotten any videos from them, but I don't know, they could just be making like Canva images or
Yeah,
I
I
don't
need to
know.
go look at the timesheets real quick because if they're just busy, that happens. You know, life does get in the way. So let me just go check it out. But if they're logging hours and not getting any work in, that's a kind of a different thing.
Mhm.
So let's see. Trackers. October 4th. Yeah, so really, it does seem like people aren't really logging into Basecamp. Have you been doing Basecamp?
Yep.
Okay.
After video, I've been able to hit 10 hours. Because before that, I struggled a little bit with just when it was just making pictures because it was kind of fast. But yeah.
And so it looks like everybody is, you know, pretty much. Anna's not really the one that's hasn't logged the full hours, but Kelly, I guess Kelly hasn't either. It was Rachel, right? That is, yeah, Rachel's the one dropping.
Hmm.
So, have you talked to either Kelly or Anna recently?
No, yesterday I just sent another message kind of reminding them to send me their videos or just even ask questions about videos. So I sent that in the main group chat that we're all in.
Uh, okay, well, we'll figure out the team later. What do you want to learn next? And
Yeah, I thought when you were talking about well, I just made a video on algorithm layering.
yeah, I'm
Like,
actually working on that right now. So
okay.
yeah, I'll have that kind of finished by the end of the day. I have another client, or I have two clients after this, but then I want to get this done today. So I think it's pretty good. And I think this, you know, might even be one of those kinds of pieces of content that we can eventually use for Facebook ads. I don't know. Algorithm layering is something that I really like talking about, but I feel like sometimes people don't understand it.
Yeah, and I thought it'd be interesting if we could like go into it deeper because I know I was watching the video where you were talking to Capital Finance, and then that's why I decided to make the video on that. But I thought it'd be interesting if we kind of went into that and like you showed examples of like GPS and um, I think like cookie layering is like really interesting.
Yeah, that one's actually, so you know, the GPS one's the easiest one to show, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Because you Google something, it's so obviously changes based off your location. If you use a VPN, you know what a
yeah,
VPN is?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I used for the video because when I was doing, I recorded my screen for a lot of the like examples. So like when I talked about GPS, I looked up like nearby restaurants, but I don't want my like location being shown.
yeah.
I just used a VPN and it like routed me to Las Vegas. So I just used that.
Yep. So yeah, VPNs it makes it super obvious. Cookie link's pretty easy to do to show that off because every time you go incognito mode, it clears your cookies.
Mm-hmm.
So then all you need to do basically is, you know, you could go to seattlewebsearch.com, check out a bunch of different pages, and you do a search first for something that we rank for, like the Animoto dispute link or, you know, the dispute forum. And I don't know if I rank #1 for that. Let's see, Animoto dispute copyright. No, so we ranked #2, but that's with my cookie layering. Let's go incognito mode. Still 2, so that's not a good example. But one that I ranked #10 for, and I could easily go find that in Ahrefs. You just visit the website a couple times, Google that same search phrase again. You're going to see instead of #10, I'll be #2 or #3. So that's how cookie layering works. Pretty easy one to show off. backlink layering one is kind of hard because getting good backlinks is really, it's one of the hardest things in the world to do. Yeah, so I guess one way to do that is between power partners. I have, for example, the videographer, and he's not a good example of this because he doesn't have great SEO. He's still stuck on a Squarespace website, which I really want to get him off of. But for someone that had good SEO, like Fingerprint Marketing, which is one of my web design power partners, problem is we don't share very many links, something I'm trying to change. Anyone that visits fingerprintmarketing.com later Google's SEO services, and I would show up higher. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it would be kind of finding real life examples and making short videos on that would be a great way to go. Okay, so I don't, let's see, how would I train you on that? Is that something you want to learn more about or just kind of get more examples of?
I mean, to you, I know you talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
So how much do you implement that in your strategy with like clients?
Well, that's just kind of diversifying your, where you're spending your time and energy. So, strategy number one is basically video until I start getting diminishing returns. I'll share my screen right now because I can just show you a bunch of different clients because they're all in different stages of SEO. This is the remodeling company, and I'll just go back a couple months. So Better Builders. So this month we're up 14%. Month, just very basic month. I think maybe teaching a little bit of Google Analytics would also be useful because you can also start to read these things a little bit more. There's really three or four steps for Google Analytics. Number one, just knowing that when you click on the date over here that you compare to. That little checkbox basically makes Google Analytics usable because then you can just see green versus red. Pretty simple to read. From there, you can kind of look in, because traffic does fluctuate. Black Friday is the example I use for that all the time. Q4 is always big for retail. So if you want to kind of dig deeper into what, how this traffic is coming in, you go to one way is acquisition channels. And this will split up the traffic into different categories. Paid search is, paid advertising. Direct is basically untrackable traffic. Your bookmarks can be an example of this. The bookmarks don't live on the internet, they live in the browser. Because of that, they're not trackable. Links in a PDF document are also untrackable unless they're uploaded to a website. And then it's kind of a gray area, maybe somewhat. Links that are in iframes also, but just basically links that don't live on the internet. Then organic search is, just Google. Social is social media. Some social media will show up as direct because social, it really depends on whether the traffic is coming from no follow links or do follow links. And most social media websites have no follow links, most of it. I'll just give you an example. I go to a link in here. So that's the videographer I was talking about, New Direction Video Productions. And I think we're going to start to kind of create a social media strategy around my power partners because I know them in real life. It's very easy to get them to reciprocate and kind of buy in. But the point I was trying to make is if I can find one with a link. So this is an example of Google and Facebook not playing nice together. Whenever it's an internal link, a link to another Facebook page, they will have, I believe it's a do follow link. Okay.
Are the paid searches like all from Facebook ads, YouTube ads?
Yeah,
Or-
so Facebook ads, and I think any link that, so right here, you see how this goes to Better Builders, the website. I go in there and look at the actual link. I don't know where it is. There it is right there. You see how it says REL, no follow, no opener?
Mhm.
That's a no follow link. And that means that it's not really trackable by Google. The way Google will track this link is if someone actually clicks on it. Because when someone actually clicks on it, it'll take them to a website that has Google Analytics on the website. And it's the Google Analytics that picks it up and is able to read that. So that would probably get tracked as social media traffic. But there's a lot of cases where, another one where you're like direct traffic is Bitly, link shorteners, kind of fuck that up a little bit. They can definitely turn things into direct traffic. So, and things like Hootsuite and things like Buffer have link shorteners built into them. So that's why social media and direct sometimes overlap a little bit. Display is mostly mobile devices, but normally you don't get a lot of display. This is one that doesn't always show up. And referral traffic is then just backlink traffic from other websites. So I can tell here pretty quickly that, about 26% of our results, 57, 26 is coming from direct and social. Those are probably related.
Is there one that you like better than the other?
No, just sometimes when I see months that are red like this, I would maybe want to look into it a little bit more and see if it's something that needs to be addressed or if it's just one of those fluctuations I was talking about. Red numbers isn't always bad because very often what will happen is you'll have a very good month and then the next month isn't going to look as good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's red just because you weren't able to maintain that level of success. Doesn't mean you're losing SEO. So normally if I see any green numbers in here at all, I'm not concerned. Because what happens is Google has tracking code on the website, Google Analytics, and if it sees new keywords or it sees new pages, if it sees any activity at all, it's going to kind of test that new content. It loves fresh content because it doesn't want to keep sending people to old stuff. And pretty much anytime you do anything anywhere, Google's going to check it out and it's going to test it with what it thinks might be some, ideal traffic. So these numbers will go up. These are your traffic numbers, the number of users, the number of new users, and the number of sessions, how many times these users visited the website. This one's kind of a little bit of traffic and behavior because if your sessions are going up, but your new users are going down, so this one kind of falls in the middle, but these 5 are all behavior metrics. The number of sessions per user, the number of page views, pages per session, average session duration, bounce rate. So what happens is Google sees activity and it sends traffic at that activity, at that new content. And then it measures how that traffic behaves. How much of that traffic liked what it sees, how much traffic didn't like what it sees. And it will shift gears and try to send you more qualified traffic and less unqualified traffic. So normally what you tend to see is tend to see these numbers go green and then these numbers go red because some of, you're going to get traffic to your website, but some of it's not going to be qualified. And then it's going to shift and then it's going to flip the strat, basically flip that. These numbers will typically go down while your behavior metrics will go up. So, but that's also where that's just generalities. Each channel behaves differently. Paid search, for example, if you stop paying for your ads, that's going to go down, right? You have almost no control over that. Your direct traffic, it's very hard to tell what's happening with direct traffic. That's why it's important to kind of know what you're doing at any given time. It's not good to have 5 different marketers doing 5 different things, because then your direct traffic can be a big wild card, which kind of, if you don't know where your success is coming from, how can you hope to continue it? And, you know, how can you hope to adjust for it? So Pinterest can also give you a lot of direct traffic. Organic search is pretty straightforward. It's from Google. That's the one that'll fluctuate back and forth the most. You'll get like one or two good months of organic traffic, and then almost certainly you're going to get 1 or 2 bad months. It has nothing to do with losing SEO. It has to do with Google shifting those gears between, you know, just traffic in general and then more qualified traffic. Social, again, you know, it's in the hands of Facebook. 1 month you could have a lot of engagement. Your social traffic is going to go up a lot. 1 month you could be running ads on social media. And then display, really, I don't ever even pay attention to display. Display is just not on my radar. You know, you can have mobile specific strategies, but that's kind of like in the world of having apps. And, you know, even social media, which is very mobile friendly and is going to get tracked as social. It's not going to get tracked as display. You rarely ever see display. And then referral is pretty straightforward. Referral is just backlinks. But the backlink juice really depends on how your backlink, you know, the people that are linking to you are performing. So really what I see in here, you know, because this was a down month, down 5%. It's one of those fluctuating months for Google. And if I keep going back, I might be able to tell why. So this is 1,100. How much was this? Is this the same month? August 17th to September 15th? No. So if I just keep going back far enough, you're gonna probably see we had 1 killer month or something somewhere in there.
You ever get like clients freaking out on you if they
At
see
this point, no. I mean, so my first month of SEO is basically a feeling out stage. It's more for whether I want to work with a person, because it's got to be a long-term relationship. I have to know that they're willing to stick with me for 6 months, usually for more than 6 months. All Clean is that good example of a client. He has some of the best results that I've had for a client, because when he came to me, he had so much, you know, written content. I've been blogging 3 to 7 times for 4 years. He already had 400 blog posts written by the time we started working together. But you can see that even with him, if we had quit after 6 months, you know, this was when we started 2017. You know, if we had quit right here, because we kind of peaked right there, right, and then we came down a little bit, he would have lost a lot. He wouldn't have gotten anywhere near where he is today. And again, this is just based off of where you are in the search engine, you know, drawing that picture. When you're at the beginning, you get results very, very quickly because you're surrounded by that weak competition. And eventually you're going to run into medium competition. And at that point, you have to change your strategy accordingly. Sometimes you don't have to change your strategy. It means you just have to stick with it for longer. And that's kind of what we did here. In fact, back in this period of time, I wasn't doing any social media. Social media has been a very new thing for me. I'm not a big fan of social media because of the engagement factor. Building engagement to a certain degree is there's no magic bullet. You know, and a big part of, at least, and this could be just my personal holdups, it's like you're selling your privacy for results, you know, and it's not always got to be that way, but I'll just show you some of my clients that are very good at social media. TeamMarty.com. This is a realtor, and I work with like 5 different realtors, so I know how the realtor space works. You just gotta be very personal, personable. Like in here, this is more me telling them we need links to the website because they used to not have any links to the website. And I told them, you know, if we're not getting people out of the Facebook bubble into the website, you're basically working for Facebook. You're, you know, getting engagement to your page. You're building visibility to your page, but it's got no real long-term value to it. So this is something that she does a lot, where she has no link in it. This is just a message post. And to be honest, linking to your website is sometimes counter, it's where it's where you get your SEO, but not a lot of people click on links and leave the Facebook bubble, right? It's designed that way on purpose. So you can just see, if I go down this list, how many posts do we have that have links so far? No link. One link to a listing. And these always work because people want to, see more information about the listing. So these kinds of posts always work, but unless the content on the website is somehow necessary and somehow better than what you can give within Facebook, it's very hard to get people to leave the bubble. This one, this is just me telling them we need to start sharing our blog posts. We need to start getting people to the website, but you'll see there's no engagement on it. Mm-hmm. You try to self-promote, boom, you get no reward out of it. In here, she's just stop by the office today and grab your own pack of M&Ms. One engagement, no link to the website. But really what I was getting to, and she's changed her strategy a little bit recently, because I told her, you guys are really killing it on social media, but you're not going to get rewarded unless you get people back to the website. So if we go back far enough, I'll just show you. And I think she's been doing less of it because she recently had a death in the family, and we all know how that is. It's very hard to be. I think I have to accept Marley. 1 second.
Yeah.
I hate that. I wish it would just auto accept. I need to figure that out. But if I go to her pictures and I go to her videos, you'll see what I'm talking about. Oh, because photos. Now, recently it's been a lot of just more general social media stuff. But if you go back far enough, right, they're out golfing. I guess the pictures, here's one of her families, right? And if I go to the video, it's very obvious. But essentially, she's the face of the business, and she does these marketing minutes.
Good Monday morning. I sure hope you had a fantastic summer weekend. Hey, I'm here at the offices of T.
So it's like acting. It's like, you got to be up front and center. You got to have your face in front of people to get that engagement. We're human beings, and what we really like is we like, socializing to a certain degree. And that's just something that I've always struggled with a little bit, the acting part more than anything else. And I hope we can get there at some point, where once we get like really short quality videos, I have no problem getting my face on the camera. But it's just, you can see how back a couple months ago, before the death in her family, she was really the center of the whole social media strategy. So I don't know where I was going with that. Just that social media requires that human element more than than SEO does. It's also kind of it's very time consuming. I guess that's the part that I dislike the most, is to be effective in social media. You got to be on there constantly. You can't take breaks. And if you're engaging 1 month and not engaging the next, your results are gonna show. So, and then this is a perfect example. I'm gonna go look at her insights because I am curious. I'm in Better Builders right now. I need to go into my account. Ever since she had the death in the family, she's definitely not been on social media as much. And I wonder sometimes, how much that's already affected things. It's like, you just have to be on 24/7. Like, luckily enough, our business is an SEO business, and we're going to be using social media in combination with other strategies. So we're not as reliant on that engagement. And we're going to hopefully be using programs to automate as much as we possibly can. Once we fill CoSchedule up with a bunch of really good posts, and with good images, good video, and good text, and we've kind of tested out what works and what doesn't work, then we just turn on Facebook ads and send a ton of traffic to the Facebook page. And then we'll retarget with ads as well. That's something that I'll be able to do that a lot of people aren't able to do. Because we get 10,000 people to the website, it's very easy to retarget those people with Facebook ads. It's a lot cheaper. There's a higher chance of engagement with that.
Well, I guess my question would be, you were kind of explaining how like earlier you had really good SEO and you had to turn it off because you were getting like a bunch of traffic, but they were all cold leads, right? So are you worried about that?
I still get pretty much only cold leads from the internet. I'm at this point, my issue in the business really is needing to hire people. But this job isn't, I guess, for everybody. I'll just give you an example. This morning, I spent an hour on the phone with Google trying to troubleshoot a mistake that the client made. And you know what? Like, I'm not tech support, but at the end of the day, it's something that needs to be addressed. And I'm getting off topic a little bit here, but this wasn't my fault whatsoever. And suddenly it's been made my problem. And the reason why is because SEO is a little bit of everything. Social media isn't my problem either. It's not my specialty, but it's something I have to get good at, because if you ignore something long enough, it becomes the weakness in your SEO strategy. And then going back to algorithm layering, social layering is a very powerful part of how algorithms sort results. So you really have to constantly be getting, learning new things. I'm not the greatest writer at the end of the day either. Like, it takes me 6 to 8 hours to write a blog post. I time it. And that's because I can be a bit of a perfectionist if I don't stop myself. So when it comes to me getting leads online, the thing is, my SEO is at such a high level that if there is a warm lead out there, they find me, and they find me instantaneously. So that's where the algorithm layering is what I'm talking about. Like, I may not rank number 1 on Google for Seattle SEO anymore. And it has been growing a lot recently. They're new. But no, I'm not even on the first page of Google anymore. I used to be number 2. But let me go check all these guys out and compare them to myself. And that's where you'll really start to see the power of algorithm layering and why you shouldn't care about the top 3 positions. If the top 3 positions just aren't important, it's all about algorithm layering. It's all about capturing warm leads and warm leads only. I don't waste my time on the phone anymore. So, you can just go down the list. 674 for number 1. 331 for number 2, 187 for number 3, and that's not even a competitor. UpCity is kind of like the Yelp of online marketers. You go there and you can list the top 12 SEO companies. Clutch is the same thing. Clutch and UpCity very similar. SEO experts 117, organic SEO 172, 221, 93, 86, 21, 3,598. I have more traffic than all of them combined. And that's where the first page of Google doesn't matter. Seattle SEO, I guarantee you these guys get probably 5 to 10 calls a week from people that aren't that serious about hiring out for SEO, and or are just trying to get quotes so that they can go to other agencies and try to haggle or negotiate. This company is offering this for this much. Would you be able to do this? Would you be able to cut this much off of your thing since you won't be doing this X, Y, and Z? That's literally the kind of phone call I was getting. Mm-hmm. Yelp was another example of just the worst kind of leads imaginable. Yelpers really are the worst. And I know that that's not the case in all industries, but they're just bargain hunters. Something goes wrong, they go to Yelp, they complain about it, they whine about it. It's just on top of that Yelp, will filter your results. If a friend or family writes a review for you, they'll filter that. They'll see that you guys, through their algorithm, they'll see that they track you on your phone. If you have the app on your phone, they'll see your IP address, shared IP address, and they'll filter the results. And that's, really counterintuitive when you think about it, because whose reviews do you trust the most? The reviews from your friends and family. It's just, that's how they make money. They make money by filtering any easy reviews you would get, and by empowering these people out there that will engage on their website. The keyboard warriors that will complain about everything and anything, and leave a bad review for pretty much anything, unless you just suck up to them to a ridiculous level. So, it takes me a long time there's so many examples of how that works with algorithm layering. It's really not about ranking number one. What you want to rank for is number 4 through 20, which is that first page of reviews. Number 4 is perfect, really, for high quality, things, because you're under that threshold where there's the people that have short attention spans, that don't do any research themselves. They Google one keyword phrase, Seattle SEO, and they pick the top 3 companies. But someone who's going to go and do their own research, who's tried to do SEO themselves, has kind of figured out that YouTube works for them, doesn't work for them, has wanted to add a subscribe link to their channel, has even seen my ad, seen the video. And that's another thing to understand about algorithm layering. They don't even have to see your website for it to work. Google remembers everything. You could be number 30 for a keyword phrase, and Google's going to log that. Seattle web search ranked number 30 for WordPress SEO. And then that same person later Googles YouTube subscribe link, and I'm going to pop up number 1. Well, now the next time I rank for something that I would have ranked 24, like Shopify SEO, I'm going to rank number 10 for. And it's just an example of how, and then going back to the main concept, it can take you 100 hours for a competitive keyword phrase to get from position 100 to position 10. It can take you another 100 hours to get from position 10 to position 4. And then it can take you 200 hours to get from position 4 to 1. Just do some basic math there, and it does not make sense to get from position 4 to position 1 anymore, because you could spend 200 hours getting to position 10 for like 5 different keywords or 10 different keywords instead. So yeah, I'm not sure if that answers your question.
So do you explain that to clients, because they're going to want, the top 3 because they think that's going to be the best, and do you have to explain to them?
Well, yeah, I mean, the goal is usually to get number 1 or, into the top 3, but you can't do it overnight. That's something that people normally understand very quickly. Mm-hmm. It's more about how do you get there in an efficient fashion. Because just your time, this 200 hours at the top would be much better spent getting traffic on 5 other keywords that can bring in 1,000 people to your website. And then that 1,000 people to your website a month is going to help you to rank for those competitive keywords in a much shorter period of time. With 1,000 people to your website, now instead of 200 hours to get from position 4 to 1 for a competitive keyword, it could be 150 hours. So even then, it's still not really worth it. What you should at that point do is keep diversifying out into other keyword phrases, like the carpet cleaners. The carpet cleaners is such a good example of how this all works, because we've actually exhausted our blogging topics. Their writer can't even write about carpet cleaning anymore. A bathtub cleaning trick that is easy on the back and knees. We're not even talking about carpet cleaning anymore. How to select carpet that is easily maintained. They're talking about installing carpet at this point. 5 cleaning tasks to bundle together to save time. And the reason why is because, again, we've hit diminishing returns. We can't write about carpet cleaning anymore. We don't get results for the most part. We already rank very highly, and to beat the remaining people at the top of the search engine is sometimes impossible. I'll just give you an example. So their main service is steam cleaning. So steam cleaning carpet. Well, look at what your number 1 results are going to be. myvaporclean.com, stanleysteamer.com. Beating Stanley Steamer is going to be very hard to do. They have, let's see how many locations they have. I don't know my zip code. Washington. Again, Stanley Steamer is a franchise. They span the United States. They're getting SEO from hundreds of cities. And that's kind of an example of, and I'm going back to, I think, something that'll answer your question. someone who wants #1 on the first page of Google, but has done no work themselves and expects it to happen within 6 months to a year, I don't want them as a client, because I'm never going to be able to get those results. That's just not the way, it's just not the way it works. So, that's another reason why I live and really believe in algorithm layering, is because I hate cold leads. And then I just don't like clients that have unrealistic expectations. I can understand if they've been through 3 or 4 different SEO companies and now it's not worked, they've hit diminishing returns and they've got a lot of SEO behind them, then I may kind of, break the mold a little bit and be like, oh yeah, we can maybe get you from position 4 to position 1, considering all the work that's been done before. But, most of the time what I find is things like Clarity Capital, where they've paid an SEO company. It's not even an SEO company. The people that they paid before, it's called Savvy Search Marketing. They started off as a web design company and eventually turned into, and started promoting SEO, saying that they do SEO. At the end of the day, there's a lot of busy work that can be done. And it's really kind of combining the pieces so that they work effectively that matters. They did some things really well. Their pay-per-click campaigns were set up pretty well, I have to say. Yeah, I just don't like pay-per-click. But you'll see here, even if you look at their own SEO, 671 people a month, right? Versus, and they've got a pretty big team. I was checking them out. I know that when we were transferring from their company to mine, we had to remove like 5 people off their Google Analytics and like 3 people off their website. So they have a team of at least minimum 8. And that's just for one client. I expect they have more than that. But in reality, all the stuff that they say that they do, it can be just busy work if you don't start thinking about what's efficient and how you do things in stages. Clarity Capital was spending, I have to go back and check, but I think it was $2.5 grand a month on their SEO services, and really getting nothing out of it. So they had 2 companies, so I guess probably closer to $1,500 per company. I think it was $3 grand in total, was what they were telling me. Oh, I need more top. The websites look almost identical. Okay, no, never mind. So am I making sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you normally want to see is, you just don't want to see this static nothing and then ups and downs, ups and downs. That to me screams inconsistency, and it screams to me not understanding that things have to be taken in stages. You really can't do everything at once, and you don't need to either. You really should focus on creating dedicated pages and then making videos for those dedicated pages, run ads on those videos, and you're just going to get a continual trend upwards. You can see it really with the all clean. I have too many tabs open at this point, but you can tell that they are consistently going up, and then eventually we will hit a stage where we've reached strong competition, and then things kind of normalize. This is basically where Google was sending people to the website, but they were no longer we weren't getting good behavior metrics, so Google starts to slow it down a little bit, and then we decide to just kind of stick with what we're doing for longer. I at this point hadn't changed anything with them. The only time I started changing things for them was around January 2019, and that was more in an effort to bring in a videographer and to get higher quality video content. And I really didn't start doing social media for them until the beginning of COVID. I didn't do social media for anyone until COVID started. And then, basically everything went out the window with COVID. And that goes back to the good times don't always last. You know, the example before COVID was the previous recession. And I don't remember, you know, I think, what was that? I don't remember when it was, but back when it was, I was still doing web design and I had a bunch of realtor clients. And, you know, 1 month, it went from everybody doing great and times were great to the next month, everything was falling apart and across the entire industry. And what happened was 1 month, the realtors didn't need to do anything. And then the next month, the economy crashes. And then people start getting reluctant to buy new houses, right? Because they're not certain about their future. And well, what does that cause? That causes people to stop selling their houses because nobody can sell their house if they're not going to be able to buy a new house to move into. All the listings start drying up. And suddenly all the realtors get desperate for SEO and get them desperate for online leads all at once. And the same thing is happening with the coronavirus. It's just happening, I think, a little bit more slowly, you know, because the government's doing a good job of keeping interest rates low and printing money. And, you know, we haven't really seen a crash, but we've got the added element where everybody's kind of stuck indoors and word of mouth is no longer as effective as it used to be. And the tech companies are booming. You can just see that the economy is changing and things are moving online much faster than I think anybody could have predicted, even myself. Until coronavirus, I had a hard time selling SEO services because really the only people that understood the value of it were people that have already hired a company before and have eventually hit that diminishing returns point. And, you know, at that point, I could have my explanation to them about everything that I know, and they'd be like, oh yeah, this makes sense. But a lot of people were also like, oh, this is snake oil. You know, you're just saying a lot of things. I don't understand anything that you're saying. And going back to carpet cleaners, this guy is someone I know in real life, Crystal Carpet Cleaning. And I had this entire spiel with him. You know, he's seen me because we're in a BNI group together. And I don't know if you guys know what BNI groups are, but they're Business Networking International. It's just groups where business owners meet once a week and trade business. He's in my BNI group. He has seen me talk about SEO for at least a year or two. There's a social media girl in the group. There's a videographer in the group, the videographer that I was talking about earlier. There's a web designer in the group. And you look at his website, it's just, his website's really crappy. You know, there's a web designer in the group. He just doesn't want to spend the money on it. And we did 1 month of SEO when coronavirus started because, you know, his business is kind of floundering. And I guess the point with this is even at the first end of the first month of SEO and his traffic was up. You know, I was like, okay, you know, now we have to sign up for a 6-month contract. And he's like, 6 months? That's too much of a commitment. And then he literally said this to me, and I'll remember this for a while. But he's like, well, when I do a good job, I get, you know, they ask me back. You know, that's how I do business. It's like, maybe you know something I don't about how to run your business. And I was like, that's just not how SEO works. The way SEO works is I'll do basically 4 months worth of work in the first month, and then I'll drip it out for 3 months after the first month. And then around month number 4, or more like month number 3, I'll analyze the results and either continue doing what I'm doing because we haven't hit that diminishing return stage, or pivot a little bit, start targeting different keywords, maybe do some Facebook ads, do because we've hit the diminishing return stage earlier. It really depends on the kind of client. Like Samila's Boutique was one that I did the pivoting stage month 2 because we were getting amazing results. I was meeting with her team constantly, training them constantly on it, and I could delegate things to her team. She had her receptionist or someone that was working in the shop with her, and I was just constantly training her on SEO stuff. Once I've trained her on that stuff and she's doing that herself, I can move on to other things. But as long as the dude isn't doing, and this is the poster child of this, he refuses to do anything with his computer at all. He doesn't want to add blog posts. He doesn't want to do social media. He doesn't want to record anything with his iPhone. He doesn't want to do anything. And it's just like, he's been in the carpet cleaning business for 30 years. And it's worked for 25 years. He hasn't needed to do any online marketing, any of this, stuff that he doesn't want to do. He's got amazing Yelp results, your Yelp reviews. If I go, crystal carpet cleaning, Yelp, he's got 104 reviews, and that's killing it. That's really good. And that's why he's been probably doing okay for so long. It's because he's got one piece of the puzzle figured out. But it doesn't work forever. You're gonna eventually have to do something outside of your comfort zone. You're gonna hit a diminishing return stage eventually. Either things are gonna get more competitive and or things change. Yelp, not everybody uses Yelp anymore. I know I don't. I don't trust Yelp reviews at all, pretty much. I did a test once because I was really pissed off at one point at Yelp because this is my third or fourth BNI group. And in my second BNI group, I got 30 reviews from my BNI members. And then one day they updated the algorithm and 25 of those reviews disappeared. They got filtered. And I was furious when that happened. And, I was at that point, I unfriended all my BNI members. So he's got 72 more reviews on top of the 100 that he already has. I unfriended all my BNI members and I was trying to get those reviews back in. I even paid for, Yelp services for a little while. And then that's when I realized it was a racket. As soon as I started paying for the Yelp services and the Yelp advertising, a couple of them became unfiltered. I was like, this is bullshit. So I went in and I tested something else out. I started making fake Yelp accounts and writing reviews for myself. And those stuck for longer than some of the ones from real life people. And then eventually they got filtered as well. So then I started testing that out and I realized that they don't like brand new Yelp accounts. They want you to have, 10 friends and they want you to have 50 reviews. If you have 10 friends and they're not, again, you can't be friends with the business owner. They just have to be other random friends. And you have a bunch of reviews, then your reviews will stick. But I just realized very quickly that you can make fake reviews, and the fake reviews are almost in a way more effective than real life reviews. So this is just, I'm getting off topic again, but Yelp was great for a long time, but it's no longer as great as anymore because there's just a lot of alternatives. There's Google reviews, there's Facebook reviews, there's, when it comes to Better Builders is a great example of this. Certain industries have certain review websites. For a house builder, you've got House. They also have something called Guild Quality, which is a website that their building organization recommends they use. So they're in something called Master Builders Association. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of that, but it's basically a group of contractors. Then there's Angie's List, right? Yelp was the King Kong forever, and now they're no longer, and they're losing it slowly. Why? Because they have dirty practices. So yeah, I feel like I can go on about this stuff forever. Now that I have Marley on the call, what we were talking about was kind of what we thought the team was working well on, and Alex told me that he hasn't really seen any videos from anybody lately and hasn't really heard from anyone. So if that's the same case as for you, we can kind of move on to the next part, which is what you want to learn more about and what the next stage of training would be.
Yeah, so I'm in the same boat. I haven't really gotten any work from anyone this week. I don't know. I assume you know this already, but Rachel actually resigned. Yeah. So yeah, that partly explains why we haven't received as much work this week. Let's see. Yeah, so I can't really say what people are doing well at the moment because haven't seen any progress from them. But I have been enjoying learning more about video, and so I think we should continue that. But I also know that you were interested in going and doing some things on Pinterest, and I think that would be interesting. I'm not sure if everyone on the team is ready for that. I feel like we still have to see what their work for this week looks like. But
yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll probably, until we get work in, a mistake I've made before with these teams is that I get kind of flustered with the fact that there's so much that people need to learn to be effective that I'm just like, I teach some, I do one meeting 1 week, I teach them something. I may repeat it for a second week, but then I move on to another subject matter and nobody ever really masters anything. So for me, the number one skill is getting good at creating the visual elements. And you've heard me talk about this. So I think that's just where the team needs to stay. And then anybody that gets good at that, we'll start to train them on the things that I'll be training you guys on. So I was telling Alex, I really do want to get to Facebook ads, but I think that's just going to have to wait a little bit because Facebook ads require really high quality content. And I think I just need to think about this a little bit more and kind of map out a couple of Facebook ad campaigns myself. And then once I've kind of gotten it 80% there, we'll kind of meet on that together. I think Pinterest is a good one too, because I can teach you guys how to be dangerous with Pinterest very, very quickly. There's obviously levels to it, but essentially how I built the Costume City accounts, which reached 2 million people at one point, was through 2 programs. Tailwind is basically like Buffer or Hootsuite, but only for Pinterest. So I'll show you guys that first. And then you combine Tailwind with another program called Pin Pinterest. There's many programs like this one because this is a very common strategy in social media. It's called just following and unfollowing. A lot of people do this organically, but this is how Instagram people, influencers really build their accounts. They will follow 10 to 20 accounts a week and then wait a week or two and then unfollow anybody that didn't follow them back. And eventually, once they get big enough, they'll pretty much, at that point, they can just unfollow everybody and they'll just grow naturally, organically. But this follow unfollow strategy is something that's been used in social media since social media first came out. So you use Tailwind to just automate your posting completely. And then you use Pin Pinterest or any program like it to grow your follower base. And once you've got those strategies kind of figured out, it just will grow and continue growing. You really don't hit a diminishing return stage. I think the bigger concern it really is having enough content. Because one of the advantages that I had with Costume City is that there's like an infinite amount of content for it. If I go Peter Pan costume, view all, it's just boom, it literally goes on forever. There's every single person in the world that likes Peter Pan has posted a picture of themselves in a Peter Pan costume. There's so much unique content, it's ridiculous. This isn't the case, and listen, I wish I could have unseen that, but this isn't the case in every industry. So in some industries, the ability to create your own content, your own visual content, is going to be just as important for Pinterest as it is for anything else. What we're doing in Canva, what we're doing in Animoto. For SEO, I can guarantee you that, because if I go SEO, it's going to show me just this templated stuff, which, who's going to pin something like this to their Pinterest account? Almost nobody. So you'd have to get more specific. SEO infographic. And then you're going to run out of SEO infographics. My initial first stage of Pinterest for the business for Seattle web search was basically all infographics. I'll go show you real quick. I haven't really touched Pinterest in a while because it is also it's a social media thing. You got to maintain it. It's incredibly time consuming. So, wow, that's actually a lot more than I thought. 235. So I have barely touched this, but if we go and look at my boards, you can just tell. I don't know if I've cleaned this up. Saved. If I go back far enough. 2016 pay-per-click infographics, 2016 content marketing infographics, 2016 web design infographics. I did this every year. In 2017 email marketing infographics, 2017 SEO, et cetera, et cetera. So this is just an example of how certain industries and certain businesses have huge advantages on social media, and should be taking it. You know, if you're our puppy daycare, you have no excuse for not killing it on social media. You know, everybody is going to just love your content and engage with it. They're going to do the work for you. When you don't have fun, engaging content, you got to kind of factor that into what you do well. So a shift that I've made recently is I started targeting graphic design. Why? Because graphic design is pretty. It's easy on the eyes. It's something that's much more likely for people to engage with, to save and pin. But you'll still see here that, again, I haven't been consistent in this. You know, one view, that's not very good. So, you know, top 9 logo design trends for 2019. That one alone has gotten 111,000 impressions. You can see that's a pretty steep drop off. 111,029. You know, the Costume City one was just like pages and pages of 100,000 impressions. So, but this is definitely something we could do that would be effective. So this is a video that I made. Pinterest is a built-in way to download images on your phone. You can see that this kind of strategy works very effectively. Like on YouTube, what's my #1 piece of content? How to make a YouTube subscribe link. What's my #1 piece of content on Pinterest? How to do something in Pinterest. And I think that's something that with social media also makes a lot of sense. It's starting to tailor our content strategies uniquely to the platform that they're being served to. You know, how to do X, Y, Z on LinkedIn, send that to LinkedIn. How to do X, Y, Z on Twitter, send that to Twitter. And then the success that you find on all these different things, you know, you start to pepper in the pieces that you really want that are kind of universal. So yeah, let's, you know, it is 3 o'clock, so I have to jump off at 3:30. I don't know what your guys' time is like. So I can keep going with Tailwind, or we can leave that till next week. It's totally up to you.
It doesn't matter to me. It's up to Alex. He's been here the whole time, so.
Yeah, I just have to leave at 3:10.
Okay. All right, well, then I'll just go through Tailwind for real quick. And I'll send you guys the login for it, and you guys can poke around in preparation for next week, which we'll spend more time on it then. Tailwind is pretty simple. You're going to log into tailwind.com. The main place you're going to be on is scheduled pins. There's this button here called Chrome extension. You're going to want to click on that. It's going to install an extension into your Chrome profile right there. I would then keybind it. So you're going to go to extensions, keyboard shortcuts, keybind it to Control-T, right, for Tailwind. Anytime you hit Control-T, it's going to initiate Tailwind. And, you know, there's many ways of doing this, but just in layman's terms, you know, if this is my top boards, I want to build on the success that I've been seeing. So graphic design trends. I can now go to Pinterest, Pinterest.com, and search for graphic design trends. This is a great place to start because anything that pops up at the top of the list here is likely to have, you know, some kind of success. You can also see they've got, you know, auto-populate you with a bunch of other ideas. I've already done graphic design trends recently, so I'm going to jump over to logo. I know logos are hot. And hit Control-T. And now it's going to give you, it basically pulls in all the images from the page and allows you to pick the ones you like, and you can start making pins for them. So I'm not very picky. I just hit everything. Now, obviously, you'd want to be, if you had time, be picky about it and put what you think is the best content. You know, so having some kind of background knowledge or strategy of the industry and the keyword you're trying to target is helpful. But I'm just going to try to get through what I think is a layman's term strategy. So this will help you populate popular content into your account. I can now hit graphic design trends as the board I want to go to, and boom, what I want to pay attention to is this little thing. So URL shared before, and this will happen because the best content tends to stick at the top of those searches, and I must have done this kind of search pretty recently, but I'm going to delete all those because your board has a much higher chance of showing up if it's got all unique content in there. If you've got the same pin over and over and over again, Pinterest just doesn't like that. It doesn't necessarily penalize you for it, and you can still get results from that. But having big boards of all the popular content and it's all unique, it's more rewarding to the human being when they find the board, right? If they find your board and it's filled with repetition, they're just naturally not going to stay on there as long. So now I can see, green checks across the board. Now what it's going to tell me when I try to do this is some of them don't have a title. So please enter description for all your pins. They need a pin and they need a title. So here I'm going to go. I might just delete this one because I'm too lazy right now to do that. So just delete the ones that don't have the content I need. And also some of these just don't even make sense. That one I just deleted doesn't even make sense. Tabitha Emma really doesn't make sense. If this person is doing something like I'm doing, they're being very lazy about the pins they're putting on, but you can see it works because they happen to show up at the top of the search for graphic design trends without a unique title, without a unique description. But I'm not going to repin that because I don't need. I really wish at this stage they allowed me to click on the link, but they don't. So I'm just going to kind of blow through this as quickly as possible. Anytime I see a duplicate, I'm just going to remove that for now. Schedule all. So bam. Now this doesn't really give me SEO. What it does is it gives me SEO within Pinterest itself. It's going to make me more visible for graphic design trends. And I'm basically piggybacking on the SEO of those other people. So if I go in here and I refresh this now, these all have a high chance of being repinned because anybody out there that Googles graphic design trends, that's likely to pop up at the top of the list for them, right? So they're going to go and pin that. And anytime you pin something, what happens is if I went and try to pin this right now, and then clicked on it, it's going to say save to graphic design trends. You can follow, and this is another part of what we should be doing is following the pins that we like, the pins that are performing well in the analytics, because then we're suddenly more visible to anybody else that shares that following. Again, algorithm layering. This is like backlink layering. And then you scroll down and you'll get all this kind of stuff here. Well, you'll see probably not me in here because I haven't been very active recently. But if I had been active recently, instead of Zetka Design, you'd see SeattleWebSearch.com. So you do this continuously and you become very visible without any of your own content. And then what you do, because you do want SEO, you want people to click back to your website, you start to pepper in your own content in between that. So in the smart loops, which is essentially like requeue and co-schedule, you're going to make just areas where it has my own content in here. There you can see my YouTube subscribe link post. This one connects to YouTube. I like using Pinterest to really promote my other channels because people don't always click through to websites, but someone that likes YouTube, they're going to see a YouTube link in Pinterest. They're going to be like, click. They don't mind clicking to YouTube. So I tend to use Pinterest more to promote the other channels, and you'll see that I still have links in there to the website. But that's what's great about Pinterest is you really get to build visibility at first without your own content. Once you've established that visibility, then you come in and throw your stuff in between. And that's really it in a nutshell. You use Tailwind to automate your posting. You can see that I think that did that only once, and I've got almost a week worth of pins in there. You know, if I did this for 4 or 5 hours, I'd have a month or 2 worth of pins in here. And then, you know, you can obviously take this to a much higher degree, and the higher quality your content is, the more likely it is for people to click and engage on it. And that factors in hugely in your long-term success. But then being more picky about the content that you pick. And, you know, even within boards, you can create sections, which is something that I haven't been very good about. I've been pretty lazy about it. Where is my sections? So edit board. I know they allow you to create sections. I'm just not seeing it right now. They've changed the design recently. Organize. I don't know why I'm having a hard time with this right now. But they used to have sections. They certainly do. Pinterest has been getting popular, and because of that, it's going through a lot of changes. Click the board to open it. Click the plus icon at the top of the board. Click section. I'm not seeing something. Okay, add section. They've really buried that. But you know, I could have in here now, what were the different ones? Graphic design, trends, logo, typography, creative, right? So I can move to add section logo. You know, move, you know, pink. Bubbly letters. You know, there's actual terms in the logo design industry. If I go logo design trends 2020 and open some of these up, or just look at, you know, maximalism, bright paint colors, unhung artwork, you know, you get the idea. Now suddenly I've got a bunch of ideas for sections I could create. The better you organize your content, you know, the more people are going to stick around. You probably see that in Instagram all the time, where Instagram feeds will have the same kind of color, you know, the really popular ones, and they'll have the same kind of design to them. And I want to kind of find those examples, because Instagram is really one of the hardest platforms to be successful on, because you can't use ads, I guess is the easy way to put it. You know, the ads really don't reach Instagram. At least, I mean, that's changing, obviously, slowly, but historically, you can't use pay-per-click to fuel your success. Because of that, you have to become really good at finding your niche and building engagement without pay-per-click, which is, you know, one of the hardest things you can do in all of SEO is building engagement. So, all right, it's 3:16, Alex. I don't want to hold you up for too long. So, yeah, just, you know, for each week going forward, I think a lot of it, because it seems like until the team catches up with their homework, just kind of figure out what you want to learn more, and we'll treat each meeting like that. And then at the end we didn't have time this week, but I want to kind of have a discussion at the end of each meeting of how we can kind of tailor this into a training format for the team. You know, what do you think they could pick up in a short period of time? What really resonated with you? What did you find most valuable? And then we can start maybe even looking at some of my clients, you know, because having additional examples outside of SEO, I'm sure would be helpful. You know, we could look at the Pinterest account for better builders, or look at the Pinterest account for, you know, the cleaning company, or even look at a Pinterest account for the tax guy. You know, I didn't think the tax guy's Pinterest account was going to be very popular, it became very popular because no tax people do Pinterest. So the people that are looking for it, there's only one place to go. And that's another part of SEO that I think is very interesting. It's always better to be ahead of the curve. And just because your audience isn't there doesn't mean it won't be there tomorrow. And the fact that your audience isn't there now means there's going to be much less competition, which means your efforts get rewarded much faster. All right, I'll let you guys go, and I'll share the Tailwind login with you so you guys can poke around.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Sorry
yeah.
for joining late.
No problem. I'll send you the recording too.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good rest of your weekend.
You too.
I too. Bye.
Bye.